Thank you for joining, guys. My name is Shweta Tamanna, working in a company called Theorem India Private Limited from past 4+ years. I have planned for around 10 sessions on Pardot. If you completely attended the 10 sessions, you can easily clear both the certifications. That is Pardot Specialist and the Pardot Consultant. I know it's been difficult to follow the sessions through LinkedIn. That's why I have created a YouTube channel. Once the session is completed, I'm going to upload those videos into that YouTube channels. You can refer the video over there. These sessions will completely on Pardot Specialist and the Consultant Certification overview. If you want to enter into the world of Pardot certification, the first one is the Pardot Specialist certifications. In the Pardot Specialist certifications, they are going to ask some simple questions with respect to the tools. If you want to take the Pardot Consultant, first you need to clear the Pardot Specialist one. The Pardot Consultant is a bit difficult compared to the Pardot Specialist. You have to work at least 1 to 2 years to clear the certifications. If you want to take the Pardot Specialist exam, this is like a prerequisite. At least you have worked for around 2 to 6 months on a Pardot platform to know about marketing workflows, marketing automations, terminologies, with respect to integrations, with respect to connectors, and you need to solve some basic platform issues. These are the topics which you can expect in the consultant exam, which is not in the specialist one. The first one is the Salesforce Engage. I have separate session for Salesforce Engage as well. Now, and the next is how you're going to implement the lead grading and the lead scoring techniques, how to create a complex workflows through automation tools, and they're going to ask some questions with respect to coding as well, based on HTML, JavaScript, CSS, etc. This is the exam logistics. If you're new to Salesforce certification, you have to know these instructions. The length of the exam is 90 minutes for all the Salesforce certification exams, and the number of questions is 60 questions. This number of questions is completely depending on certifications. Some of the certifications will have 60 questions, some of the certifications will have 65 questions. And the passing score for the Pardot Specialist is 67%, and the passing score for consultant is 65%. If you want to register, you can register through www.webssr.com. This is the exam topic. From this pie chart, you will get to know how much percentage of questions are going to ask per topic for the exam. Here, it will cover to the entire tool of each and every tab with respect to the percentages, starting from the email building till the deployment. I have planned for 4 different stages to run these sessions. First one is the setup stage. Second one is before the event takes place. Third one is during the event takes place. And the fourth one is after the event takes place. What are the activities we are going to do in the Pardot platform and the Salesforce platform as well? When it comes to the first stage of the Pardot setup, which includes Salesforce integrations. Here, how we are going to integrate the Salesforce for the first time with the Pardot. And the second one is administrations. Administration is completely depending on the domain management, how we are going to configure in the Pardot with respect to the domains. Third one is security and access. This is especially with respect to the folder permissions. Fourth one is Pardot campaigns, not the Salesforce campaigns, visitors tracking, and the prospect management tracking. The second is stages before the event takes place. Here we are going to segmenting our prospects into the targeted mailing list by choosing the people who we want to target for our products. We are going to do this through list management. Once the list is ready, we are going to send an email by building a personalization with respect to the first name or the company's name, like that. That is before the events takes place. During the events takes place is we are going to generate the leads by using the Pardot form, Pardot landing pages, and by using social marketing as well. By using social marketing during these events, we are going to schedule the post through LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook to acquire the leads. And the last one is after the events takes place, what we are going to do. The first is the lead management, how we are going to manage the leads by using automations tools in Pardot. We have different automations tools in Pardot. One is completion action, segmentation rule, automation rules, and the dynamic list. The second one is the lead qualification. Lead qualification is nothing but you probably have thousands or hundreds of customers interacting with your organization. Your salespeople can't reach each and everyone. That's why what the marketer will do is we are going to implement the scoring and the grading technique to get the qualified leads to send it to sales reps. And the last one is lead nurturing. Lead nurturing means is a process of developing the relationship with buyers at every stage of the sales funnels. How we can do this? We can do it through engagement programs or the drip programs journeys. I'm going to talk one by one topics on the coming days, but my today's topic is Salesforce integration. By the end of this model, you will able to learn how the relationship is between the Pardot and Salesforce when it is connected. What are all the objects it's going to sync between the Pardot and Salesforce? How to create a custom field in Salesforce and how it is mapped with the Salesforce and Pardot. Why Pardot and Salesforce together? Combining the best in marketing class automation with the best in class CRM, which allows you to super changes your Salesforce. If it is connected, all the data is transferred between the two platforms. Any information is updated on either platform will be synced over to other platform as well. The first one is to standardize the lead qualification. Here you have to qualify the leads first before sending to sales reps. As I already told, you can't send each and every prospect to sales reps to reach out. That's why before going to send to a sales rep, we have to standardize the leads according to our standards. Second one is behavioral tracking. Behavioral tracking is nothing but what the prospect is doing in Pardot, how often he's going to open your email, how often he's going to our websites, how he is downloading your files. Like that, we are going to check the behavior of each and every prospects. Third one is the automatic lead assignments. If you think that once the lead is qualified according to your standards, you need to assign that prospect to one of your users in prospect for the future purpose. How we are going to build a relationship with the cold leads? For that, we need to create an automated list that will be provided with the cold prospects, and we are going to target them through engagement studios to nurture them, and we can use those prospects in future. And the last one is campaign ROI reporting. We can check the ROI of each and every campaigns in the Pardot. There are two unique identifier in Pardot instance. If you are using a version before of 2016, the email address will be the unique identifier if it is not updated. If it is updated after the 2016, the CRM ID will be the unique identifier. The CRM ID is nothing but the contact ID or the lead ID. This will create a unique records in Salesforce or in Pardot. Whenever you are connecting the Salesforce connector, only one Salesforce connector is connected to one Pardot organization. You cannot connect multiple Salesforce or to your Pardot organization. As I already told, in this sessions, we are going to learn what are all the objects is going to sync between the Pardot and Salesforce, and what are the objects we are going to use in Pardot and Salesforce. Then on the left hand side, the objects are Pardot, that is only the prospect you have. On the right hand side, you can see the number of objects with respect to the Salesforce, that is lead, contact, campaign, if any custom object is necessary, account object, and the opportunity object. Here you can see the prospect in Pardot is syncing with lead in Salesforce, and this is bidirectional as well. If anything is updated in prospect, that will be updated in lead of the Salesforce record. Same as well, since it is bidirectional, if anything which is updated in the lead record, it will directly update to the prospect record in Pardot. For example, first name, last name, company. If you are updating the first name in the lead records, it automatically updated to the prospects of the Pardot as well. Same as with respect to contact, since it is bidirectional as well, if we update anything with respect to contact record, it will automatically update to the prospect record in Pardot. Next, you can see the lead record is directly syncing with the campaign object. Here I'm talking about specifically the Salesforce campaign, not the Pardot campaign, because leads can be always under the Salesforce campaign. This is bidirectional as well. If anything updated with respect to the campaign name status, it will automatically update to the lead record as well. This is similar for the contact as well. Since it is bidirectional, if anything updated with the contact record of the campaign name or the status, it will directly update it and sync between the campaign and the contact object. Next is the custom object. The custom object is mainly used to segmenting the data in Salesforce instead of using regular objects. If you want to create a custom object, you have to keep this in consideration. You must create a custom object in Salesforce before creating and syncing them with the Pardot. Before you need to sync with the Pardot, first you need to create a custom object in Salesforce. The custom objects are always read-only in Pardot, and the sync time is it takes around 10 minutes for the custom objects. If other than custom object, the sync will happen for every 2 minutes. You can't use variable tags with respect to the custom object as well. Next, the account object. Before going to account object, the custom object is directly syncing to account object. This means that account comes under custom object grouping. On a high level of segmenting the data, it's more specifically here, the contact is syncing with the account object. Means if you have one account, you can have multiple contacts. One account can have many contacts. And it is nothing to send back to the account object since it is unidirectional. And at last, the opportunity object. Here you can see opportunities always only with respect to the contact object, not with the lead record at all. And the next is sync triggers. In the sync triggers, as I already told, what we have seen which are the objects is going to sync between the two platforms, that is Pardot and Salesforce. Now I'm going to talk about the activities is going to sync between the Pardot and Salesforce. The sync can be as fast as 2 minutes, but can take longer as well. First comes to the Pardot activities. In the Pardot activities, the first is the prospect activities. In the prospect activities, you can see that if the prospect has opened an email, click a link in an email, fill out the form, download a file, register for a webinar. These are all the different types of activities that the prospect can do that would sync over to Salesforce. The second one is user action. The user action is the Pardot user. We have different users in Pardot admin user, Pardot marketing user, Pardot sales user, and Pardot sales manager. If the user has done any action such as changing the field value, maybe putting that prospect on a list, putting that prospect on an automation, these are the sync overs there. And the last one is system action. This takes with type of automations we have set in Pardot, maybe engagement studio, automation rule, completion action, adding them to list, change the field value, etc. These are all the Pardot activities. When it comes to the Salesforce activities, the first one is lead or a contact assigned owner. Whenever you assign records in Pardot, the person assigned for the first time, you won't be able to reassign the records in Pardot because Salesforce is the master. When the sync is happened, you need to reassign the prospect from Salesforce only. You cannot reassign through Pardot. The second is lead or contact field change. If any field change which is changed in Salesforce, that will be changes in Pardot as well. And creating the new lead or the contact records. When the new lead or a contact is created in Salesforce, it's automatically created prospects in Pardot. If you want to do that, the connector setting must be enabled. Then only it will sync. This is how the sync logic works. This is how the lead or a contact is going to identify for the syncing process. First, the system is going to check, does the lead or a contact is having a same CRM ID? If the answer is yes, then it is directly syncing with the lead or a contact in Salesforce. If not with the same CRM ID, then it is going to search for the contact with the same email address. If it is yes, is directly syncing with that contact. If it is no, it is again going to check the lead record with the same email ID. If the answer is yes, it will sync to that lead record. If no lead record or a contact, then we know that person is in Pardot only. He is not assigned to any user. If you are not going to assign the prospect to any user in Pardot, that person will be in Pardot only. He is not in Salesforce. Once you are going to assign that person in Pardot, he is going to create a new lead record in Salesforce. Now I'm going to do the Salesforce connector setup to the Pardot. Before going to do that, I will explain the process how we are going to do the Salesforce connector setup. This is the process in which you set up the Salesforce connector with your Pardot connector or the Pardot platform. First, you need to install the Pardot App Exchange package and then go to add the Salesforce connector in Pardot. Third one is you need to configure the Salesforce with respect to by editing a contact page layout, lead page layout in Salesforce. If you want, you can create a new section and label it as Pardot and drag and drop the Pardot prospect activities and the default fields, that is Pardot score, Pardot grade, and the Pardot campaign. And finally, you have to configure the Pardot. You can see the note over here. The connector will not auto create the prospects in Pardot. You will need to complete an initial import of leads or contacts when integrating an existing Salesforce. And the meaning that once you're connected between the Salesforce and the Pardot, it's not automatically syncing all the records in Salesforce to the Pardot. Once you have connected, you have to import the leads and the prospect into the Salesforce. Then those prospects will be reflected in Pardot by that time. For that, I'm going to give it a demo how we are going to connect a Salesforce with the Pardot. For that, first, before going to connect to the Salesforce and Pardot, first I need to create a developer account. If anybody is not having developer account, first you need to create a developer account by using developers.salesforce.com. If you're already having an account, you can directly log in. Otherwise, you can create an account by using sign up.
Once you receive this form, you have to fill out this form. You have to provide the valid email address because you will receive an email once it is finished to verify your account. That's why you have to give the valid email address. And this will be the username for the Pardot login. You have to give it in the email ID format. It's not necessary it should be a valid email, but you have to give it in an email ID format. Once you have signed me up, you're going to receive an email from Salesforce to verify your account. You can see over here. Once you will verify, you will receive to change your password. You have to give it your new password. After changing your password, you can log it directly through. Yes. This is the Lightning platform. Once you have logged into your Lightning platform, sorry, it's loading. I think it will take some time. Okay. No problem. Then next, once you have created your developer's account, now you have to log into your Pardot account by using pardot.com prospects. Here, this is the dashboard of this Pardot account. Here you have 4 tabs. One is marketing tab, which we are going to create the emails, landing pages, forms, and if you want to create any list, we are going to do another marketing tab. The second one is the prospects. If you want to see who are the prospects and which are the list the prospect is having, you can see the prospects and the visitors on the prospect tab, and you can see the reports with respect to each and everything, with respect to the campaigns, with respect to the emails, with respect to the landing pages, everything over here. And the last, with respect to the admin, if you want to configure the domain management, if you want to configure any connectors, if you want to import the files, if you want to export the files of the prospects, you have to do it through admin tab. Before going to login into the Pardot, first you need to install the Pardot App Exchange. The first step is, for the install Pardot App Exchange, you have to type Pardot App Exchange package. Once you come to this, if you click the first link, install the Pardot App Exchange application, we'll come to this tab. You can see over here, get the installation link. First, you need to install the Pardot to the Salesforce. How we are going to do that? I will show it now. Once you click that, you will receive two installation links. One is production environment and other is the sandbox environment. If I click the production environment, you will get this green upgrade Pardot by Salesforce. If you want, you can do it for admins only, you can do it for all the users, and you can do it for specific users as well. Now I'm going to connect to installs for admins only. Once you click the upgrade, it will grant access to admins only. I think it will take some time to update. By that time, I think I will go to installed package sections in Salesforce. We go to install package. Once it is done, in the installed packages, you can see that the package is installed for this session. I think it's taking some time to install. Now you can see over here, the Pardot is installed to your Salesforce account. Now you can connect your Salesforce to Pardot. For that, you need to come to your Pardot account. And if you before that, you need to give some permissions over here in the Salesforce. I think the internet is a bit slow over here. Permission sets. Yes, you have to come to users. Under that, you have permission sets. You can see which in the under the permission sets, who are all the users.
We have CRM users, order management agent, Pardot connector user, Pardot integration users. There are so many users with respect to Salesforce. But what we are going to do here, we are connecting our Pardot to the Salesforce connector. That's why I'm going to check this. Or I can click this. I'm going to give the permissions to the user. We have only, since we have only one user, we are going to connect that user. Once you have assigned that permissions to that person, then you need to come to the Pardot. Under the Pardot, you need to come to the admin connectors. Under the connectors, you have different connectors. You can see over here Google connectors, LinkedIn, Facebook. Leave all these connectors. Don't worry about these connectors. Since I'm already connected with the Salesforce CRM, I'm removing that one. Once you came to this connectors, you have to click the add connectors. Here you can see all the connectors which you can connect it to between the Pardot and other connectors. Now since I'm connecting with the Salesforce and the Pardot, I'm clicking the salesforce.com. Don't click the connect to the Salesforce sandbox account. Click create connectors. You have to provide the username which you have created for developer org and password. Once you logged in, it will ask for the allow access to check the basic information, manage your data, to do all these things. Once you click the allow, now the Pardot and Salesforce is going to sync between two. Once the connector is done, you have an options over here. You have to check these options as well. This is important. The first comes the automatically creates a prospects in Pardot if you created a lead or a contact in Salesforce. This meaning that if any prospect is created as a lead or a contact in Salesforce, those prospects needs to be created in Pardot as well. With respect to which campaign, you need to select one of the campaign over here. If any prospect is created now under the Salesforce, those prospects will automatically created in Pardot with this campaign. And the second option is if record do not have a CRM ID to match, then you have to sync with the email address to match. If, for example, if some of the leads or the contacts of the prospect will don't have a CRM ID, at that point, we are going to referring to your email address. I think I have already explained how the sync logic works. This is where it comes. The third one is exclude partners and customer portals users from the prospect management. And the fourth one is override the prospect opt-out field. I think for the best practice, I'm not going to use this for the client side because it's not a good sign to override the prospect's opt-out field if anybody is opt out. Next is email logging. When it comes to the email logging, the first one is syncing emails with the CRM. This allows you to send Pardot email directly from the contact layout or the lead template layout as well as the Salesforce objects. The second one is syncing emails with the CRM. If you have Salesforce Engage, you have to able to send the Pardot email and you can track as well. And the third one is sync plugin emails with the CRM. The plugins with Outlook, Gmail, you can send those Pardot email with email clients and tracked as well. And the last is the email notification. First, in the email notification, we have enabled Salesforce emails for the task creation. Whenever you assign a task to the somebody in Pardot, that is the Salesforce task, you can receive an email for the task creation by enable this one. And the second one is enable the Salesforce emails with assignment rules. Whenever you assign a rule, the prospect for the users, that user is notified with the email about that assignments. Once it is done, click finish. You can see this warning error, that's not a problem. Now the connector is saved. It will take some time to verify this connector. Once it is verified, if you create any prospects in Salesforce, that automatically created in Pardot. I will go back to my slides. This is how the connection is between the Pardot and Salesforce. I have first you need to install the Pardot App Exchange. Before that, install the Pardot App Exchange. If you don't have a Salesforce account, first you need to create a Salesforce account by sign up, and the next is install the Pardot App Exchange. Second is apply the connector user to the permission sets. Next, create the Salesforce connector in Pardot, and you have to check which are all the necessary for your clients. And the third one is configure the Salesforce by updating the lead or a contact page layout. I think I'm going to do this update for the Salesforce and configure the Salesforce in the next class by updating the lead page layout and contact page layout. And I'm going to create a custom field in Salesforce and Pardot, and we are going to sync those custom fields, and we are going to import by first leads in Salesforce for the next class. Thank you guys for attending.